right? And they used to use the trees they used to carve flower pots in them and grow vegetation so they don't have to come out of the treetops.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's fire.
Those are called the Skywalker clans. That's who they got Luke Skywalker name from. The Zulu means Skywalkers. Let's go to Google. Let's look up what the meaning of Zulu is.
All right, I got you.
You had Skywalker clans all around the world. Their color is generally pale blue. We're going to show y'all some treetop villages before we get out of here because we need to know the topography that I'm talking about. But first is a certain little stuff that you got to know what you're looking at. What we pulling up now, Elder?
I mean the Zulu.
Okay.
The word literally means people of the sky.
There you go.
Damn. Yeah.
They mirror clan over here is called Hopi.
Yep, the Hopi. There you go, right here.
Okay, now go back to Google.
Look, they got the same clothes on as the Hopi right here. These Zulu. Or Zulu got the same as them, the same people, right? All right, let's go back to Google.
No, they mirror clans. They're not the same people. They mirror.
Right. That's right. That's right. Go ahead. Where you want me to go now?
Okay, now pull up Treetop Village. They still got some.
It's a game banger called the Pyrus in
Pyru, Treetop Pyrus.
Yeah, Treetop Pyrus. That's them. They come from that shit too.
Yep. The name is all tied back to the tribal meaning of who they are.
Damn, that's crazy. Treetop, these guys right here. What you want me to pull up right here? This right here.
The third picture at the top from the left.
Okay, how let me get them. Let me save it in there.
All the way to the top row, third picture right from the left. I think that. No, right that ain't them. They got scaffolding. Right here. They got vivid. Those are huts. These are some of the treetop villages. Okay? So we're gonna get a couple of different pictures. Let's say huts. Save that picture and how you put in something else.
Okay. So
next, treetop village scaffold. SCAFFOLD.
Oh, maybe hold on. That's what I might type in wrong. Village. Okay, now let's try it. Okay,
I wanted to get an idea. See how they walking through them treetops like that?
Yeah.
These are Skywalker clans. These ancient Skywalker clans.
Yeah. Okay, all right, go ahead, man.
Now, a lot of us don't know it, but the California redwood, there was trees that made them look little. That right there.
Right there.
That's how we lived in the villages and the treetops.
A car can drive through one of those trees in California. That's how big they is. You can drive.
Yeah, those are little trees compared to what used to be here. These villages. We want them to see these villages in the treetops because this was what was in Florida. This is the stuff. These was all down in Louisiana. This one right here. These was all down in Louisiana. That's up in the bayou. That's what they used to look like. Similar to that. This is a different architectural style. This look more Asian than ours. Yeah, but to give people an understanding of how we was living in Florida before they started them big ass forest fires and shit to burn us out in war.
Like this. So the deer stand idea and all that come from this shit. Like, hold on, right here, like this right here, paint. It's a good paint right here.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go pull the pictures up so we can get a good look at them.
Okay, I got you.
You know, this is what the land was like in the South. This was extended. You used to be able to walk from Louisiana to the Florida Keys in the treetops like this without never touching the ground.
Damn.
These was the huts that they had in top. These look like that the people moved out and they since became overgrown.
Yeah, that's right.
But this is huts that they used to live in huts like this all through Florida.
I never heard of the treetop people, man. This shit is fire. This shit is fire.
Southern Georgia, Arkansas, Mississippi, and Louisiana. We had people living in villages like this when the settlers came.
This shit is fire, bro.
Let's look at some more pictures. Let's go through them. Right? This is how we would connect family structures together. Like the ones on the left and the right, those might be living quarters, but this might be the community eating cafeteria and shit. Yeah. Right. Because when they cook food, they had a controlled location to cook so they didn't catch nothing on fire. And they had been doing this shit for thousands of years.
Yeah.
They never burnt us up. The women never they never caused forest fires. They probably did in the early days. But we was up in the treetops for thousands of years. That's why Pyru is a Crip motherfucking with the U on his side spelled backwards. They telling you what the fuck these motherfuckers did. This Tukey people. Go to another one. Let's look at another one.
The treetop Pyrus, man. They don't even know that they I hope some treetop Pyrus watching this shit to say, damn, we probably didn't even know their history. They don't even know that shit about their history.
Listen, Tukey is what you call a double-headed king. When he started the Crips, him and Raymond Washington, by default, it made the Bloods for him. So they became the mirror opposites of each other, destined to clash until Tukey can straighten it out. He got to make amends with the Red House. You see, this was how we used to, this was normal. This was a normal trip to probably to the little village school or something. Well, we didn't call them schools, but to the village training grounds. Mama walking the baby, Pop's following him. He finna make a left to go to the hunting park, and she finna make a right, take the children where they finna go and sit with the elders and learn their lessons for the day.
Now, what you said made us want to go become Skywalkers, like some of the clans?
We just naturally gravitated toward living in nature, with nature, off nature.
Yeah, stop walking on the ground, pretty much.
Well, no, it wasn't to stop walking on the ground, right? It was just, it was like some people live in skyscrapers, some people live in a ranch house.
Okay.
This is what it is. So now, all of the peoples that have the attraction to the skyscraper, they don't get the view that these people get. With they, right. So they became Skywalkers. They come down out of the trees, but they do it on their turns for ritual purposes. As in, they might come down for grounding rituals. I'm about to go get some drink.
Oh yeah, hey, you dropping some juice, because I ain't never heard of the like I heard terms threw around like Skywalker this, Skywalker that, but I ain't never make a connection with there was some of our native tribes who actually went up in trees and started connecting these Skywalkers together and all their huts, and they make a lot of sense. And there's a whole bunch of shit just going on through my mind on other shit that I knew that I didn't put together about these people living up in these trees.
And what we have been told or led to believe by mainstream media has been only there to confuse us, mislead us, and turn us on one another. So if we're going to ever get to a point of liberation, of freedom from all of this oppression, one thing we're going to have to do is get past jumping to assault each other openly and in public without cause, and no one's doing that to us. So what happens in the community is people begin to speak on things because it look a certain way. But if you understood the divide and conquer mechanism and how it works, you would know that the whole system is set up to turn us against each other. And when you start to mix the rules of the street with investigative reporting, you can ask the wrong questions that can get somebody severely hurt. And that's what made me bring up James Prince, because there was a situation similar to what young Pharaoh's doing with the nation in Farrakhan. He's
not really understanding what he's doing. So I'm going to touch on some of it. But until I talk to certain people, I can't openly disclose a lot of information that I will be able to once I made those ends connect. So where we finna go with this is we're going to start with what happened with the J Prince scenario. All right. A few months back, James Prince released a tweet when one of his people was robbed in New York. And he told the people in Brooklyn, or he asked them rather, if any of them knew who this was, if this was their people, and to sit down with him or, check on it so that they can get an understanding. And I heard several different YouTube channels ask if James Prince was snitching by putting that tweet out. So everybody in the streets, I'm not talking about music industry types, I'm not talking about businessmen, I'm talking about anyone who is in the streets that deal with day-to-day street life. They will understand that what J. Prince done was necessary. He had to address it publicly because the gentleman that did the robbery put it on social media publicly. If he doesn't say anything publicly about it and give the people who are the OGs in that area the opportunity to clean it up, then James Prince would not be following the rules. So what was James Prince doing? In the tweet, he basically told New York, specifically Brooklyn, where the guys that was from, that committed the act and posted it on social media. Now, nobody had never heard of James Prince going out public and openly addressing the issues that he was dealing with in the streets. He never talked street business publicly. So why would he come out after never revealing himself publicly and all of a sudden release a tweet addressing openly street matters publicly? The reason for that is this. James Prince know the rules of the street. All right? So he know that as soon as they made that public, he obligated now to address it publicly. And y'all got to pay attention because this is how the reporters can get somebody hurt. Now, the reporter's presumption was that he might be snitching by putting out that tweet, which is nothing further from the truth. You can't snitch on somebody that told on themselves, first of all. Second of all, the video that the guys put up of them taking the Rap-A-Lot chain from this guy, cutting this guy's face up, was a direct humiliation on an OG in any hood. So you can't do that to an OG nowhere. Now, everybody in the streets know that James Prince is known for following what they call the code of respect. So following the code of respect, he have to address this matter, and he have to do it publicly because these boys put this stuff into the social media in a public forum. So James Prince addressed it publicly. So before I go any further, I'm going to say hi to the family up in here checking me out, trying to get this stuff situated where we can stop going at each other's head and we can clean up this mess that they laid down in Babylon on this divide and conquer. So I'm going to say for all of y'all that's here now, greetings. I'm glad y'all here. I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of different greetings from everybody because they already know I speak. I'm from the hood, from the block. I say, what's up? What's up? That's everybody. That's the Muslim, Assalamu Alaikum, and the Rahubats. That's all that in the what's up. So if y'all get offended because I didn't use your term of address, then I can't control that. But I can say what's up, how y'all doing, and much love. So when we get back to this situation, now what did the media types do? They begin to put pressure on OGs in the street to come out and make statements. Nobody was ever supposed to issue a tweet, a verbal response, or an interview dealing with the tweet from James Prince. Because he had to put it out there publicly, they was just supposed to go handle their business, check their family, make sure that they was clean, and leave it alone. Now, if somebody found out it was in their family, they were supposed to address it publicly. That matter that was done in Brooklyn where the boy got robbed for the Rap-A-Lot chain came out of my clique, and we ain't know nothing about it. You know, but it's straight now. We took care of that. You know, that's how they were supposed to handle it. Whereas that's why he said we have to get an understanding. He threatened nobody. He didn't say nobody did anything other than whatever is going on up there, those I respect, and he hashtagged them all. But none of them was supposed to openly and publicly respond if they following the code of the street. They was just supposed to go check their camps. Individuals check their camps. Now, their response was, if anything, at most, a phone call to James Prince, hey, this is my son, the general, my camp clean, baby, I'll holler at you later. That's the end of the conversation. There wasn't supposed to be a whole drug out thing. And these reporters, by forcing people like Fat Joe to make a verbal response by continuously asking them about it, is putting his life in danger. It's not putting his life in danger from Jay Prince. It's putting his life in danger from OGs from his area. Because they already know the rules, and they're going by the rules. And this is how we end up in this situation, which is going to take me to the young Pharaoh situation next. Because if we follow the rules, we won't have these issues. And people always got something to say about somebody else's business without really understanding what it is that they're addressing. So the street rules become imperative to understand in social media and investigative reporting. Because you're not supposed to ask people from the street about street things so you can put it out in the public domain and get somebody hurt. So y'all got to understand this. You can seriously have a person's life snatched from them by putting the wrong stuff on social media and putting the wrong stuff in an investigative report in a documentary. Now, I did a video a couple months ago, about a month and a half ago, about Tupac. I had to take the video down because it put somebody's life in danger. And later on, once I was able to know that that person was secured, I was given permission to put it back up. So I posted it back up with an explanation. So what did young Pharaoh do to prompt me to give this address? Now, I hope somebody tagged him on the video that I was going to be coming on here because I want him to see this. I am very, very proud of young Pharaoh to begin with for his courage and for his determination to deliver what he perceived as the truth against all odds, because he don't even understand the odds he's facing when he's addressing certain issue, or he have the courage to withstand the backlash of those odds. And his delivery style remind me of me when I was his age. You know, it's raw, it's untempered, and it's also lack the depth that his elders around him should be feeding him unless they surface dwellers. Because when you surface dwelling, you can't get to the bottom of anything. And so young Pharaoh did two speeches. The first one, he said that Farrakhan was clout chasing at the Nipsey Hussle send-off ceremony. He don't know what he's talking about because he do not understand that this is bigger than that. Ceremony was more than just what you would call in modern America a funeral. That wasn't just a funeral. And I'm not going to go too much into that right now because I touched on it in the Tupac video. The second thing that young Pharaoh did was a documentary that came out. But they still could be my friend. I understand it's about the love and the respect, but sometimes the respect is all you can get because a motherfucker got too much hate to give you the love. And there's a thin line between love and hate. And if you can cross that thin line and still bump straight, that means that you can walk the Siddhasta Musta King. That's the straight and narrow way for a motherfucking king. And only a few can ascend because only a few are the righteous, and the righteous are few in number. And
the motherfucking earth shall be inherited by the meek, and the meek is the alfeminate, and the alfeminate is the feminine, and feminine is the women, and the women are the ones to raise the matriarchy. Because when you put the shit the way it go, the machine run the way it's supposed to be run. And that's the most efficient way to run a government. And if you run it the most efficient way it was meant to run, then it's going to run as smooth as it was supposed to be running. And if it runs as smooth as it want to be running, then the people that's listening, that's falling into the governmental structure or the matriarchy is only going to be able to produce their best life, because there is no other options but in order to live in prosperity, truth, love, and happiness. And if you don't want to live in prosperity, truth, love, and happiness, you can't stay here, because we're going to be vibrating on the wrong frequency, and we're going to agitate your demons, and your demons going to torment your ass for staying in the midst of all of these motherfuckers throwing Mardi Gras across the land from coast to motherfucking coast everywhere.
And draw that wisdom from them. They there for a reason. Losing this fight for a reason, because you can't learn the required lessons to feed the youth victory if you have never been defeated. So yeah, Farrakhan took some losses, and Dr. York took some losses, and Jeff Ford took some losses, and Imam Abu Jamal took some losses, and Mumia took some losses. They all took losses so we can win. Put it all together. It's a big jigsaw puzzle. Take all their losses. Don't let them remain losses. Turn them into lessons. You can't lose then. Turn the losses of the past into the lessons for the now. Take the technology and the wisdom of today and apply it to the victory struggle. Unify. Find what you agree on. You don't supposed to agree on everything, or you wouldn't be an individual. But you can find what you agree with. Support what you agree with. The brother Lamel put together a program. I didn't know the brother from a box of rocks, but the description of the program, I agreed with that. I supported that. Anybody think I'm making it up? All you got to do is ask him. The brother came here. We sat and talked about it, because I believe in the family-oriented programs. I believe in the unification programs, because I know as a mystic, studying the blood rights, the rights to the blood, the message in the rights and the message in the blood rights, and studying the problem in the whole Hegelian dialectic. The only thing that this damn devil fear is one unified front. And we ain't got to kill nothing. We ain't got to shoot nothing. We can just sit down at home together. Everybody, let's go home at the same time and sit down, and we're going to wait, and we're going to see how much money he going to make off of our struggle while we sitting at home watching him fall apart. You can't do it. So your conscious community, if they really want to be conscious, if they really want to be conscious, every opportunity of unity, dive all over it. Now, a tragedy recently happened with Nipsey Hussle, and it's rare that I exposed to an artist from an interview that makes me interested in his music. And this brother was doing exactly what I'm telling you right now. And he lost his life, whether it has anything to do with the struggle itself or the obstacle to the struggle, which is loose cannon gangbangers, or whether it's an orchestrated effort to silence a voice. It does not matter. Every one of them brothers that supported him in the aftermath, Nick Cannon, Nas, Jay-Z, them sisters, Beyonce, that is the message we should take from that. That brother is a martyr in our community for our liberation. If we let him lay there for no reason, he died in vain. But if we can find some use out of the loss for the greater benefit, just follow his course of action.
reach out to every brother you think is, hey, Jay-Z, won't you put crumb sound bites on one of your songs, man? Let the people hear what that young brother got to say. Let them hear him. Exposing. Hey, yo, Nas, won't you drop a verse or something with the Tasmaniac over there? You know, reaching out, making them connections. And you don't have to be, it don't have to be every day in the news that you're making connections. Nobody need to know everything you're doing. But you have to be wise enough to know that your enemy does not want you to make any connections. And if the enemy doesn't want you to make any connections, then you should be trying to make every connection. Every connection. If you know a dude that's the police and he got some sensibility of consciousness, he can be used to quell the violence of those that look like him by taking the lead in dealing with those that look like him, as opposed to acting like the ones that don't look like him in pursuit of the ones that look like him. So as Ice Cube saying that notorious NWA song, Black Police Showing Out for the White Cop, it's not really about that, but it comes across as that. See, that blue wall is a whole nother bloodline. That's why they call it the blue wall. Those people that are drafted into it, they have to have a certain makeup, a certain character, especially if they come from certain ethnic groups. You won't take a dude out of a middle-class environment to send him somewhere where he's not going to be able to function. Unless you can find some kind of personality abnormality that would make him work in an adverse condition, which is a mild form of sociopathy, a sociopath. He had to be a mild sociopath in order to go from upper middle class and police to gutter. Because he wouldn't have the natural qualities, or else he would have been born in the ghetto. So they draft a combination of officers that they put together, a sociopath with a masochist. The masochist will do anything to please that sociopath. So then it looked like the black police showing out for the white cop. But you can also see it in the reverse, because they learn to take what they call role reversal, good cop, bad cop. And they teach it in the academies as what they call Mutt and Jeff routine, where they put you between two different personality types to get you to break. So if your conscious community don't want to be an obstacle to the struggle, every individual that's aware of the leading and forefront members of the conscious community don't support any of their shenanigans to bring one another down. Don't support that. But if you see like young Pharaoh be like, hey, what's up, Prince Short? Get that brother 1,000 hearts. Let him know that that's what we support. We don't support to tear down maintenance of the overall oppressor's system. We can't continue to divide and conquer and overthrow oppression. What the people not really understanding is it's real simple. Once the unity is met, then the oppressors already agreed to go. But the oppressor do not believe that the people want to be free enough to come together and say this thing, hey, we want free. That's it. We're not tolerating the oppression no more. We're not tolerating all of the inequalities across the economic lines. When we understand that that's all we have to do. We don't have to blow nothing up. We don't have to send nuclear bombs all over this planet and level it like it's been done before many times in the past, getting rid of these monsters. Because we have a higher order of ancestor that has given a decree that if the people was to unify, the oppression is over. The people will unify if the orders are given correctly. That means that if we understand that where our power is and how to use it and make no apologies for issuing orders, if we can understand them three things, we ain't got to understand nothing else. We know what platforms are big enough for the people to recognize the order that's given. We know
who the orders should go to because of historical decrees, ancestral covenants, and modern politics. All these come into play. We know it all. We know it all. Garvey wrote a whole play, but it wasn't a play. It's African Conjuring. And he said that the kid, go read the play. I'm not giving it up. Go read the play Garvey wrote about the final king that everyone thought was Selassie I, Haile Selassie. That hasn't happened yet. And I'm going to tell you how you know. Because according to what Garvey wrote in the play, when this king is crowned in Africa, there would be no more suffering and no more misery on earth. This is directly taken from Revelations, Ezekiel, hieroglyphics, and oral histories around the world. So this is already written to happen. It's going to happen. Now, even if it was a myth and nobody originally believed it, there's something else at play called collective consciousness. This goes to the conscious community. Collective consciousness, I mean, everybody thinking in one mind. The collective consciousness said that a king got to be crowned on earth to end the misery. So even if when it was originally put down over 700,000 years ago, the first time, if it was a myth then, because of the continuous belief systems adopting the same idea across culture, barrier, and boundary, across all geography and topography of the earth, because it's that much energy put into this idea over such a prolonged period of time, it has to manifest. And the closing of the age is now. This is the Jubilee. If it wasn't going to manifest any other time, it would have to now, in order to have a successful closing of the age or a transitioning of the eras. You have to fulfill all covenants and agreements with the Creator and the lesser gods. The Creator and the lesser gods. All of our punishments have been fulfilled. Do your conscious community know this? All of our transgressions have been redeemed. But do your conscious community know this? If they knew this, and they really was truly conscious, and they knew what was going on the whole world stage, then they would automatically know to push all conscious communities to one voice. You got to have one voice on the world stage as a collective. One voice. That one voice can't be egotistical to the point where they cannot speak effectively on behalf of the people. So do not let your conscious community, overinflated egos, and well-read minds seduce you into surrendering your soul for $1. This is bigger than money. Money is a side effect. This is the final awakening of those who have paid a penance for a prior misdeed. Everybody has to have an opportunity to sin. Everybody has to have a chance. Nobody could be deprived. We have to remember that if we're going to be conscious. And so you use events like a tragedy, like a Nipsey Hussle tragedy, to advance the unity. You use a tragedy to advance the unity, because if you do that, it reduces the possibility of the next voice being silenced, because they don't want to keep silencing voices if every time they do it, we get closer instead of separate. If we get closer instead of separate, then they don't want to silence our voices. Now they got to figure out a new tactic, a new strategy. But they have no more strategies if we unify. They're all out of cards. Now, I've been watching all y'all leaders. I'm waiting. They not doing no God shit. They doing some egotistical stuff. You know, I'm watching them. But all they got to do is figure this. If the prophecy of Abraham is in reference to the lost found Negroes in America, and that there's any validity to it, and as Farrakhan said in 1984, it's a significance to that year, George Orwell, that time dictates the agenda. And if you understand the times and you understand the prophecy and you know how to read the signs, you would understand the times. So once you understand that, you will know automatically what the agenda is. It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. So we at the closing of the age, your conscious community are all in their little bubbles. And we as a collective have to start pushing these bubbles together. We have to start pushing for Pharaoh and Crumb to do a video on something they agree on. Not disagree, because the things they disagree on, the science will prove that later, because we don't have the luxury of time left in order to clear up all of the misconceptions instantly like that. We don't have, because it's going to take a whole lot of work to put together what happened, unless you know somebody that was there, like at the fall and like was part of it, and that 3/5 compromise individual sometime kind of way became 5/5 realized and said, oh, that's why we had to endure all of this rapage and pillage and colonization and capitalization, suppression and oppression, repression. I didn't know we was that bad. I didn't know that as bad as we was, it made they worse look like they was being good to us. I didn't know that. Whenever that 5/5 realized individual will come to tell the story, and these isolated bodies of conscious individuals will have to have found enough common ground to come together as one. And until they find enough common ground to come together as one, the conscious community is the biggest problem to liberation. When the conscious community don't see that the only solution is unity, and that they don't have to agree on everything in order to pursue that unity, the conscious community then becomes the problem. So just like a regime, they have to be overthrown. And the only way you can overthrow a conscious community is with a superior consciousness. That means you would have to be 5/5 realized, a full and aware self. As the Kemetic said, man, know thyself. You mean you have to understand the full and total makeup of what you are physically. Multiple systems operating in one organic phalanx nanotechnology matrix. All of these systems are designed to work in harmony based off electromagnetic resonance and frequency. Are you aware of this? Are you aware that when your brain waves shift as your consciousness move up and down the spectrum, various amounts of your whole light body can be regulated as coming in through your pons region in the reticular formation at the base of your skull? Are you aware of this? I mean, you conscious. Dr. King told you about the black dot. Do you even know where it's at? Do you know how to enter it? Do you know how to get through the black dot into the realm of reality and out of the matrix? I mean, you conscious. If you're not the obstacle, you got to be the way. If you're not the obstacle, you got to be the way. And the only way is unity. The only way is unity. Only way to overthrow the same oppressor is everybody that got the same oppressor got to say, hey, man, I don't want him oppressing me no more, man. I ain't participating in his war games. I'm not participating in his war games. I'm going to tell all of these mothers, call your sons home. We ain't finna fight for these animals no more. Tell your sons and daughters to come home when because they got sons and daughters as MPs. Every child on this planet got a mama. If the mothers decide to exercise their rights of a mother and call their children home and tell them we not fighting, tell them they can take their AKs and do whatever with them, but we ain't fighting. All the mothers on earth at the same time. Who gonna fight the war for these animals? See, we not paying attention. We feeding our children to their military machines, to their medical networks. We allowing our children to be farms for human organs. We allowing them to be made into all types of food dishes to feed so-called royal families. And all of the time we conscious of what's going on, and none of our actions is stopping anything. But we only got to give 3 orders to clean up the house. 3 orders. The first order, just everybody stop and look like, what the hell just happened? What the hell just happened? But only specific people are qualified according to deeds and service to give the orders. Otherwise, the orders will not be taken seriously, and that's gonna be not good for the entire planet if they're not taken seriously by the ones the orders are given to. So you have to look at the spectrum of leadership, analyze it. You got to find the one who's put in the most work and endured the most suffering and still remains in a prominent position in light of all of that. Because in order for that person to remain there, there has to be a greater power than himself to keep him there. There's no leader, black, white, Asian, or otherwise, that can maintain a leadership position in opposition to the collective will of the people unless it's a divine mission. That means that that person has something they have to do that's bigger than them and all they screw ups. And some of the things that they've been accused of may not even be the case. But because we didn't do our due diligence, we don't pay attention well enough. Because we are so conscious in quoting facts that we're not really paying attention to substance, the substance of the day, and how to remedy the situation. So we find various individuals in various positions to give us information. That's what the community should be called. It shouldn't be called the conscious community. It should be called the open information community, because that's all they do is exchange information, but they make no moves that affect change. See, everything is supposed to be to affect change, to improve upon the adverse condition. When what you do doesn't actually make a noticeable change, then you are right, then you philosophizing, you're not actualizing. The philosophy is necessary, but it's not the end of it. You don't stop with the philosophy, because now you have to actualize it by application. This is taking the military strategy off the drawing board and implementing it on the battlefield as a tactic and a maneuver. It's the same principle at play. If you want to be liberated from your oppressor, do not accept any type of disparaging discussion from one forefront brother that's relaying information in relation to another one. Sisters as well. If they say something that support one another, support them, especially when you hear, if like they on a live like I am, and you agree that they said something that supports another unconnected individual, that show them love on that, because that's how they get the unity. They get to see that the people want them to work together. They'll work together because the people demand it. It's simple supply and demand. The people get what the people want. The customer always right. If the people want freedom, the only thing they can do is push those like minds together and make them work. Make the think tank. Put the problem up on the board just like they do in math school when all of those physicists get together to figure out how to get this space probe from Earth to Pluto. An insurmountable obstacle. They go and get all these physicists, these mathematicians and scientists, and put them all in the room, get a big old chalkboard and say, here's the problem, solve it. And they shut the door on it. And they come back with a solution to the problem. And we don't do that. So we see it work for them, and we still don't do that. Now, that got to be some form of insanity. Because you see what works, but refuse to use what works in pursuit of that which absolutely do not work. Divide and conquer has never liberated anybody. There is no record in the history of the world, in the ancient tablets, in the etheric record, and I read them all, and I have not found anywhere where divide and conquer was an effective means of liberation. I found divide and conquer, I found a subjective group of people being oppressed and suppressed. As long as you allow that divide and conquer to stand, your oppressor remains victorious over you. So wherever you see a conscious brother that you know do the work in the community, request that brother to work with another brother that's totally unrelated to, if he's a Hebrew Israelite, ask him to go work with an FOI. We don't care about what y'all don't agree on. We want to know, what did y'all find that was similar in the teachings of Elijah Muhammad and the teachings of Yahweh ben Yahweh? What did y'all find in common? What do y'all find in common between the teachings of Malachi York and the teachings of Ben Ami Carter? What y'all find in common? What did y'all find in common between what Dr. Dean said and what Claude Clegg said? Whatever they is, let's try to find, because when we find all that common stuff, we started to realize that all the stuff we was divided on was decoys. All of the things that we using to stay divided is a decoy. It's like you want to go duck hunting and you go get you a string of decoy ducks and you throw them in the lake. But I only got like 4 videos on there because I haven't really been doing YouTube yet. Because I've been trying to give these people the opportunity to come and do what they're supposed to do. And they got me sitting on standby. I ain't got no problem with being on standby. I've been on standby my whole life. I'm just tired of hearing these motherfuckers talking about they conscious and they aware and they know what's going on, but they can't fix the goddamn problem. I'm telling these motherfuckers, if they get off their goddamn hands and do their part, this shit is easy. All you got to do is take 3 steps and use your power. The whole world gonna stop. It's already written. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Diane, it's right there. Morpheus Megas at YouTube. Yeah, right now I'm trying to get off all social media. I'm trying to get into a more practical reality of putting these sisters together. So once they gotta meet, right? There's a group of sisters that I communicate with on social media that are very powerful sisters across the country in different locations. And they all got a role to play in the rebuild structure. In the structure for the rebuild, when they all do their part, it worked like, it's like putting the dream team together. Every